If you're new to Pluribus, listen up. And then after you listen for a little bit, go ahead and click off because this is going to be filled with spoilers, you guys. But, I'll just try to catch you up real quick and then it'll be spoiler time. But right now, I'm going to tell you about Pluribus, okay? And this is about an alien virus that has turned almost all of humanity into a single cheerful hive mind called the joining. Billions of people all share a collective superbrain, okay? And that superbrain, it remembers pain and it remembers suffering, but doesn't feel it anymore. It's really groovy, you guys. The hive mind is all about peace, joy, and togetherness. And it loves this existence so much that it's totally fine sacrificing individuality, privacy, intimacy, basically everything that makes us human, okay? And there are actually, in this scenario, there are 13 individuals left on the entire planet who did not join. And none of them are doctors or scientists, just regular people stuck outside the smiling collective. And our main character is Carol Sturka, an angry novelist who might be the only person on Earth mad enough to try and save us from happiness. I kind of want to be happy. Carol doesn't want me to be happy, but that's okay. I really value individuality, you guys. But somehow this weird, darkly funny, post-apocalyptic hive mind show has already set a record for the biggest drama series launch in Apple TV history, beating even Severance season 2 across more than 100 territories. And I love Severance. I actually started rewatching Severance actually just last night. But yeah, people are watching this show. And episode 4, Please Carol, shows us exactly why people are watching it. It's absolutely amazing. Now, okay, now you know what Pluribus is. Go watch it, come back. This is my 4th episode, our 3rd episode about the show, because my first episode was kind of about the first 2 episodes. But anyway, go back and watch that, but watch Pluribus first. Okay, the rest of you that stayed, Please Carol, episode 4, is the one where the hive mind basically snitches on itself, and I love it. By now, Carol has figured out that the hive mind is weirdly, strangely honest. Kind of creepy how honest they are. It's this guileless collective consciousness that will cheerfully answer almost any question the remaining individuals ask. I wonder why it's so truthful. I mean, we'll get into that. This is going to be a big show, okay? We're just into episode 4, and the show is so huge on Apple TV, it's going to have to go season after season after season. So they're not going to parcel out big events in every episode, I'm thinking, unless they keep coming up with great plot points for us to reach as an audience. So the hive mind, it doesn't posture, it doesn't spin, it doesn't run propaganda, it just tells you the truth. Partly because it's too simple and happy to lie, I guess, and partly because it doesn't need to lie. I mean, it shouldn't need to lie if everything worked out for it, but it didn't, thanks to Carol and 12 others besides her. But the hive mind, it thinks that this is the best thing that's ever happened to humanity, the joining. And Carol, she does something dangerous, you guys. She asks if there's a way to reverse the joining. Pretty good question, if you ask me. If I was in this situation, I think that would be a pretty good question to ask. And suddenly the hive mind, silence from them when she asked this. Zosia, the pirate girl, the hive mind's primary mouthpiece that Carol interacts with, she can't answer. She doesn't say no. No, that's impossible, Carol. Not even some like spiritual TED talk about accepting destiny. She just says, "We want so much to please you, Carol, but we can't answer questions like that." And Carol, being furious and brilliant at the same time, sees the opening with that. Her logic is simple and devastating for the hive. The hive mind can't lie, okay? If the answer truly was no, there's no way to reverse this, it would happily tell her that. The fact that it refuses to answer means the answer has to be yes. And this line from Carol might be my favorite. Your non-answer is my answer. That's a line that I've used in my own life many times, and Carol used it here. And it's exactly what I was thinking. So in that moment, the show quietly flips. Up to now, the joining has felt like an unstoppable one-way transformation, right? But with one question and one uncomfortable silence from Pirate Girl, Carol proves there is a way back. I mean, a way back with maybe a few million people not there. Can't save a few million of them because Carol's already, kind of taken a few million of them out. She'll have to wrestle with that truth later on, I guess, in the show. But the hive mind just doesn't trust her with the knowledge to tell her that it is reversible. And of course it wouldn't want to tell her that, but also it can't lie about it. It could just withhold the truth. And sometimes that's all you need. If someone doesn't answer your question, you know what the answer is. Yes. But let's talk about the opening for this episode, because this was, for me, absolutely amazing. Manousos in Paraguay. While Carol is intellectually cornering a planet-sized mind in Albuquerque, episode 4 also gives us our true first breakout supporting character, Manousos, the mystery Paraguay guy. We see his side of the conversation from the previous episode when Carol was trying to call him from her airplane. But the Paraguay guy, that's hard to say. Say that 5 times fast. The hive mind can't get through to this guy. He's kind of incredible, basically. Manousos runs a container unit company in Paraguay. And when the joining happened, he basically said, "Cool story. I'm putting my whole life on lockdown." That's how Manousos would talk if he spoke English. We assume he doesn't speak English. At least if he does speak English, the hive mind doesn't know about it. I hope he kind of speaks a little bit of English, because it'll be a lot easier for Carol. But we don't want it to be so easy. We need this show to go on for many, many seasons. But here's a few key details, okay? He's holed up in his workplace, surrounded by shipping containers. He runs strange frequency experiments, clearly trying to figure out the alien virus and the hive mind on his own, which is good because the other survivors didn't care. Strangely enough, they're cool. They're cool with the hive mind. Manousos, he refuses to accept food from the joined, which I kind of feel bad about, because the food will be fine. Manousos, get you a burger, okay? It'll be fine. The hive mind even offers him gourmet meals, and he's strong enough to say nope and just knocks it over. Instead, he cracks open his customers' containers while leaving apologetic little notes, because he's nice, and he eats dog food rather than let the hive provide for him. Dog food, you guys. Like, that is some elite level stubbornness. This man took, "I'd rather die free than live controlled," and turned it into a diet plan. So Manousos is intense, quirky, and instantly captivating to me. He has that classic Vince Gilligan energy, like from Breaking Bad. Remember, there's a whole episode with just the twins. But it's like that moment Jesse Pinkman or Kim Wexler walked on screen, and you just knew that this character was going to matter. So Manousos is the first non-Carol character who feels like he could carry episodes of his own. I'd watch a Manousos episode. I was surprised about how long his scene in the opening of the episode went, until I was like, oh man, I'm really digging this. I'm really digging watching this. We could take a little time before we get to Carol. Let's just keep seeing what Manousos is going through. And I am already way too invested in whatever his arc is going to end up being. We're going to see him again, right? But thematically, he's the perfect counterpoint to Carol. Carol is emotionally furious at the hive. Manousos is practically almost comically defiant of it. Though I do hope he gets a burger at some point. These are two very different ways of saying the same thing, basically. They're saying to the hive mind, no, you don't get to decide who I am. Stupid hive mind. So back with Carol, you guys. Once she realizes the Hive can't lie to her and won't tell her how to reverse the joining, she moves to plan B, science by rage. She asks Zosia a key question. If one member of the Hive gets drunk, do they all get drunk? Zosia explains, nope, that's not how it works. The minds are networked, but each body is still a separate biological being, which I figured. I figured that. It's being vulnerable to things like alcohol, explosives, and crucially powerful drugs are all individual experiences for appendages of the hive mind. So if one piece of the hive mind gets drunk, it doesn't affect the rest. So when I get drunk, pretty much my whole body is drunk. So the idea becomes basically the spine of Carol's entire plan for the episode. She gets her hands on some druggy drugs and tests them on herself first. The drug state turns her into a rambling, brutally honest disaster. Her filters basically vanish. Inhibitions gone. She becomes the raw, unedited version of herself. So then she goes over to the hospital and tries it on Zosia sneakily. She gives Zosia, barbiturates while pretending it's something else. And the result is exactly what she hoped for and feared at the same time. Took me a minute to understand what was going on. Like that whole scene where Carol filmed herself on the drugs and was watching it back. I'm like, what's going on here? What's she doing? And then in the middle of that scene, I was like, oh, she's testing it on herself to see what the results are. And then it was a bingo. She's like, yep, that's going to work. So, so she gives it to Zosia. Zosia becomes, I guess, cut off from the hive mind, at least functionally. It seems that way. We didn't get a definitive answer, but we got a glimpse of hope that it was possible. The collective doesn't do drugs, you guys. So her altered state pushes her out of sync with the hive, I guess is the best way to put it. So Zosia was out of sync with the hive mind. 7 of 9 knows how that feels. But emotionally, Zosia is still Zosia. She still desperately wants to please Carol and protect the hive at the same time. So that was her dilemma. Those two drives smash into each other inside one very compromised brain, you guys. Carol almost pulled it off, though. I mean, we were right there. Zosia is right on the edge of giving up the secret, of saying out loud how to reverse the joining. But her body can't take it, you guys. We've kind of learned that these hive mind beings, they can't take much. You yell at them, a few million of them will die. But basically, Zosia flatlines before she can actually say the words. I mean, I know she's going to be saved. She's definitely going to be saved. We don't have to worry about that. We didn't see it in this episode, but you can assume she'll be back in the next episode. It's brutal. It's tragic. And it's exactly the kind of Gilligan move that takes a clever plan and turns it into emotional shrapnel. I think I might be damaged by this show. It's melting my brain. But let's talk about what the hive mind has learned in this episode. The hive mind has learned that Carol believes now that there's a way to reverse everything, that she's willing to drug individual members to pry that information out of them, and that its bodies are a weak point in an otherwise overwhelming system. Because they're not going to hurt Carol, but Carol can hurt them. So Carol doesn't just fail in this episode. She kind of tips her hand, though she didn't realize what her hand was until it was already tipped, I'm thinking. But the collective sees all of it. But here's the part I love, you guys. Even after all that failure, all that loss, and the hive mind now watching her like a threat, though I don't know what they're capable of doing about that knowledge. We'll see if they're able to evolve and progress as episodes come at us. But Carol actually ends the episode with something she didn't have before. hope. Before episode 4, the joining felt permanent, like the universe had flipped the switch and locked it in. Now Carol knows the Hive knows how the joining works. The Hive knows how to undo it. The Hive mind loves its new existence so much that it would rather withhold the truth than risk going back to being human. Come on, Hive mind. Being human's not so bad. It's a little expensive, a little too expensive, but it's got its moments. That's all chilling, you guys. But it's also empowering for Carol, because if something can be done, it can be undone. Even if it requires a furious novelist, a stash of drugs, and a stubborn guy in Paraguay eating dog food out of a shipping container. This is what makes Pluribus so compelling for me. It's not just about horror or control, it's about choice, about whether a world without pain is worth the cost of losing yourself, about whether happiness means anything if you didn't get to say yes to it. Yes, I'll choose happiness, please. Nah, I don't like it. I don't want happiness. So here we are, 4 episodes in to Pluribus. If you haven't watched it yet, why are you listening to me right now? This is all spoilers. But Carol has proof the joining can be reversed, though we don't quite know what that proof is. We just know it's possible. Zosia almost gave up the secret, so I'm sure we're going to be trying to pry her a little bit more for some knowledge. Maybe we'll get something out of Larry at some point. Manousos has slammed the emotional door on the Hive entirely and is out there running weird experiments. And the show has already become Apple TV's biggest drama launch ever. So that's exciting to know. I'm kind of digging Apple TV shows. They're a little bit different. They're a little bit less formulaic. They're a little bit more trying something than a lot of the other streaming services out there that are playing it a little too safe, in my opinion. So Vince Gilligan has built a universe where happiness is a threat, resistance looks ridiculous until it suddenly doesn't, and the most miserable person on Earth might be the only one who can save us from the smiley-faced apocalypse. And I am so here for it, you guys, and I'm glad you're here with me. Now, if you were in this world, would you want to stay yourself, messy, miserable, complicated? Yeah, I just said those things about you. Or would you let the Hive mind take the pain away, even if it meant losing you? And to me, being you, or being me, I'm a you to you, is the most important thing about humans, our individuality. It's something to chew on, you guys, preferably not out of a dog food can, though. And if you want, you can help support Egotastic FunTime on Patreon and by checking out any of the Egotastic multiverse links below. I appreciate it all, and it really does help. And I hope all your times are Egotastic FunTimes. Love you. Bye-bye.
Give him all the money, you find him funny, just give him my money, he loves mine.